I made a promise. I made a promise that very night that the goal we had set together, I would not stop trying to achieve until I did it, or until there was nowhere left to keep trying, and that's what I did. When there was no one there to take me out to that field, I would do it by myself. Okay, it would get dark and cold and lonely, and I didn't know when to stop, and I just kept going. And every year of high school, I got a little bit better at football. In my last year of high school football, when guys in the team are getting letters from colleges and universities saying they want them to go play football there, every day I checked my mailbox. And every day there was nothing. I didn't know whether to quit, give up, or what. But I didn't. I kept going. Okay, I went back to high school and all my friends had left. I studied even harder and got higher grades, and I got even better at football. At the end of that season, there was a small ray of hope. I got one letter. One letter from the smallest football playing school in Canada, Bishop's University. Nobody there had ever gone on to play in the NFL, but it was my only chance. It was my only hope. I had to take it and I had to do it. And I knew if I went there and I wanted to do something that nobody had ever done before, that I was going to have to do something extra special the whole time I was there. I was going to have to get voted by the coaches in that league as the best player. I was going to have to be voted an all-star often while I was there, if I was going to get any attention from the NFL or even the CFL. Okay, so I trained super hard as I knew how. And going into my first training camp, okay, 3 weeks before my very first training camp, I was working in a warehouse trying to raise the money to go to university, and I cut the tip off my finger. Okay, I was a receiver, and I cut the tip off my finger. Doctor sews it back on, okay, and I go in, and 4 days before that first training camp, with a bandage on my finger, I went and played in a basketball game. A game I didn't want to miss. I'd been playing in it for 4 or 5 years, and I broke my ankle. Okay, So I show up at my first training camp where I got to make this impact with a cast on one foot and a big bandage on the other. Did I play in a game that year? No. I practiced every day. I never played in a game. Did I win an all-star award? Of course not. Year number 2 better be a lot better. I trained the whole off season. I'm ready, mentally, physically. Here I go. I go into my first game. My first game, I get there healthy, and I scored a touchdown. Let's clap for that, guys! I scored a touchdown! Finally, some good news! Some good news! I scored a touchdown! Things are going my way. Coach calls me into his office after the game. I'm expecting high fives. Good job. You're great. You're awesome. He says, Mark, we like the touchdown. Probably not the best time to tell you this, but we're moving you positions. You're going to play defensive line now. I never played defensive line before. This is, what? You got to do what the coach says. So you know, all week in practice, before my first game at defensive line, I studied, I looked around, I asked questions. How do I do this? I get in the game. I think I do pretty good. You know, I'm doing all right now. This is going to work. I could be a defensive lineman in the NFL. Coach calls me into his office after the game. He goes, Mark, sorry again, but we're moving you again. Offensive line now. You're going to be blocking for people. All right, you know, getting used to this, getting moved around. So I studied hard. I asked questions. Okay, I worked out. I thought about it. I did physical things. I did mental things. I got ready. And by the end of that season, I was about 5th best on the team at offensive line. Out of the 5 guys on the team that played it. Okay, I was horrible. I was no good. I had to do something, and I had to do something quick. So I worked all off season. We didn't have that World Wide Web thing, guys. I couldn't Google it. Okay, so I had to go to libraries. I had to go to coaches' offices. I had to ask questions, watch videotapes, okay, and work hard and work my hardest. And coming into season number 3, where I had to finally win an All-Star award, season number 3, I'm ready. I'm big. I'm strong. I'm mentally fit. I get in. We're doing a strength test. Okay, I got 400 pounds on a bar. I'm lying down. I got to bench press it. Okay, push it up and down. I'm doing it. Here, it's just like this. 18. 19. That's a complete joke. I can't lift 400 pounds that many times. Feel free to laugh. Yeah, thank you very much. So I did it like 4 or 5 times. I go to put it down the 5th time. Burn! I drop it on my hand. Break my hand, okay? Break 4 bones right across there in my hand. I put a cast on. I got to play the whole season with a cast. Did I do well? I thought I did well. Did I get that All-Star award? No. I got 1 year left. 4th year of university, I got 1 year left. So you know the story, man. I trained as hard as I possibly could. I gave it everything I had. Coming into my 4th year, I'm doing awesome. Okay, I'm dominating. I'm pushing people around the field. Things are going well. People are telling me I'm doing well. I know it. This is it. This is my year. At the end of the year, it's a meeting similar to this. The head coach walks in and he tells the team who made All-Star that year. Oh my goodness, it was a fantastic day. I could feel the birds are chirping my name. The sun is shining right at me. People are smiling. I walk in the room, I sit down, you know, everyone's making it feel real good, like it's my day. And the coach takes out his piece of paper, gives a little smile, and he goes, "This year's All-Stars, Kevin McDonald." Oh, okay, Kevin McDonald got it all every year, All-Star, you know, whatever, he deserves it. And he continues. And Patrick O'Reilly. Okay, well, Patrick had a good year. He deserved it too. And that's what he said next, folks. What he said next. That's forever etched in my mind. He goes, "And that's it for this year's All-Stars." What does a guy have to do? I've given it everything I have. Who was I to think I could even make this promise to my brother? And I just got so angry. I stormed out there, wanted to hit something. Okay, and then I got so sad, I just wanted to cry. And I walked back to my apartment, and I sat down. I sat down for a very long time, and I continued these emotions. I didn't know how to handle the situation. And then something happened. Something that I couldn't really explain. Sitting beside me on a little table was a picture of myself playing football. Now I can explain that. I put pictures of myself everywhere. You know, who wouldn't? What I couldn't explain was underneath that picture was a Sports Illustrated magazine. And on the cover of that magazine was a picture of NFL football players who played the same position as me. And I picked it up, and I looked at one, and then I looked at the other, and I went back and forth. That's me over here. These are the NFL football players. And I went back and forth. I said, I look just like these guys. I can still do this. I just have to find out exactly how. And I started asking people. I said, I'm going to ask people until somebody tells me something I want to hear. And I asked the first person. They said, "Mark, you're crazy." I said, "No, thank you." And then they said, "You can't do it." I said, "Okay, thank you." And I kept going. And finally, I met somebody who told me about SMART goals. Okay, SMART is an acronym, and every letter in the word stands for something very specific. S, specific. And then what did I want to do? I wanted to become an NFL offensive lineman, specifically. M, what measurable steps did I have to do to get to that? Number one, measurable, things I could measure. I had to get half a second faster in the 40-yard sprint. I could measure that. I need to get 20 pounds heavier, okay? I weigh 280 pounds. I need to get to be about 300 pounds. I can measure that. And number three, I need to get 50 pounds stronger in the bench press, and that, yeah, I could measure that. A is for action plan. What steps did I have to take to achieve those measurable things? Number one, to gain 20 pounds, I went to see a nutritionist who made me a meal plan, okay, and I started eating 8 meals a day. My watch would go off every 2 hours, and I would eat a meal. Disgusting? Yeah. Effective? Yeah, it worked. I gained 30 pounds. Okay, I was 310 pounds. Number two, I wanted to get 50 pounds stronger in the bench press. I went to a strength and conditioning coach, made me a workout plan. I got a workout partner to motivate me, and I worked out 5 times a day, lifting weights, getting stronger. Number three, I had to get half a second faster in the 40-yard sprint. I went to an expert, a track coach, and I started working out with sprinters, and yeah, that worked too. R, is this realistic? Yeah, I look just like those guys. This is for sure realistic. I can do this. And T is for timeline. I'll give myself 2 years. 2 years to achieve this dream. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I stuck it beside my bed. It was the last thing I saw before I went to bed, the first thing I saw in the morning, and I charged ahead. I took every day like it might be my last, like my big brother would have. And you know what happened? I went back to university one more year. I got this championship ring, and I got this piece of paper that said I was an all-star. Yeah! Yeah, I got it! I finally got that piece of